Before we begin this deep exploration into one of the most extraordinary creatures ever to walk the earth, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These long-form 100 Facts documentaries are built for immersive listening, deep focus, and serious discovery. Your support allows this series to continue growing, expanding, and reaching more curious minds around the world. Now settle in. Elephants are not simply large animals roaming distant savannas. They are evolutionary masterpieces shaped over millions of years. They are architects of ecosystems, carriers of ancient memory, and living symbols of power balanced with intelligence. When an elephant moves across the landscape, it does not just travel. It reshapes the environment, influences entire food chains, and alters the future of its habitat. For most people, elephants are defined by size. Massive bodies, towering height, enormous tusks. But size is only the surface. Beneath that immense physical presence lies one of the most complex social systems in the animal kingdom. Elephant herds operate through matriarchal leadership, generational knowledge transfer, and emotional bonds that can last decades. Their societies are structured, strategic, and deeply cooperative. Their brains are among the largest of any land animal, not only in weight, but in structural sophistication. Regions associated with memory, emotion, and social awareness are highly developed. This neurological architecture supports behaviors that challenge traditional assumptions about animal cognition. Elephants remember distant water sources across dry seasons. They recognize individuals after years of separation. They display behaviors that resemble grief, empathy, and coordinated defense. Their trunks alone represent one of the most advanced anatomical tools in nature, a fusion of strength and precision capable of uprooting trees or lifting a single blade of grass. Their tusks function as tools, weapons, and environmental modifiers. Their ears regulate temperature with biological efficiency. Every part of an elephant's body reflects adaptation, survival strategy, and evolutionary refinement. But elephants are not uniform. African and Asian elephants differ in anatomy, behavior, and ecological roles. Within Africa alone, forest elephants and savanna elephants operate in distinct environments with different social dynamics. Their migration routes span hundreds of kilometers. Their communication extends beyond human hearing, using infrasound to transmit messages across vast distances. Over the course of this video, we will move beyond the familiar and into the precise. You will understand how elephants influence climate resilience, how their social memory preserves survival knowledge, how their physical structure supports their enormous mass, and how their existence shapes entire landscapes. From anatomy and neuroscience to behavior, communication, ecology, and conservation realities, each fact builds a deeper understanding of these giants. This is not a surface-level overview. This is a structured, immersive journey through 100 detailed insights designed for long listening, layered knowledge, and lasting perspective. Take a breath. Adjust your focus. The world of elephants is far more complex than it appears. And now we begin. The elephant's trunk contains over 40,000 individual muscles working in precise orchestration, a biological marvel unmatched in the animal kingdom. Unlike human muscles that attach bone to bone, the trunk consists entirely of longitudinal, transverse, and radiating muscle fibers interwoven in a hydrostatic skeleton. This muscular hydrostat operates through antagonistic muscle groups, allowing the trunk to extend, contract, and manipulate objects with extraordinary dexterity. An elephant can pluck a single blade of grass, crack open a peanut shell, or uproot a tree weighing several tons using this same appendage. The trunk tip features finger-like projections called tubercles. African elephants possess 2, Asian elephants 1, that function with the sensitivity of human fingertips. Scientists have discovered that elephants use their trunks to detect seismic vibrations, chemical signals in urine, and even electromagnetic fields. The evolutionary journey from the short-snout ancestors of 50 million years ago to today's 6-foot appendage represents one of nature's most successful experiments in adaptation, transforming what began as a modest fusion of nose and upper lip into the most versatile organ ever developed by a terrestrial mammal. Deep within the elephant's skull lies an acoustic architecture specifically evolved for infrasonic communication, sounds below the threshold of human hearing at frequencies as low as 14 Hz. These low-frequency vocalizations can travel through the ground for distances exceeding 10 kilometers, allowing separated family groups to maintain contact across vast African savannas. The secret lies in specialized structures, an enlarged larynx, uniquely shaped vocal folds, and resonating chambers in the skull that amplify these subsonic calls. Female elephants modulate their infrasonic messages to convey specific information about water sources, predator threats, and reproductive status. Recent research reveals that elephants actually listen with their feet and trunk tips, detecting these ground-borne vibrations through pressure-sensitive mechanoreceptors. The temporal lobe of an elephant's brain, which processes acoustic information, is proportionally larger than in any other land animal. During the Pleistocene epoch, when mammoths roamed Ice Age landscapes, this infrasonic communication system likely proved essential for coordinating movements across frozen tundra where visual contact was often impossible through blizzards and fog. Elephant mourning behavior reveals emotional complexity that challenges our understanding of consciousness in non-human animals. When encountering the remains of deceased elephants, family groups engage in ritualized investigations that can last hours. They caress the bones with their trunks, paying particular attention to the skull and tusks, and often carry these remains considerable distances. Mother elephants have been observed standing guard over stillborn calves for days, repeatedly attempting to lift the body and showing signs of profound distress. This behavior extends beyond immediate family members. Elephants have been documented visiting the bones of elephants they knew years after death, suggesting long-term memory and recognition of individuals. Neurological studies reveal that elephants possess spindle neurons in their anterior cingulate cortex and frontoinsular cortex, specialized cells previously thought to exist only in humans and great apes, associated with empathy, self-awareness, and social cognition. The evolutionary pressure for such emotional intelligence likely arose from their complex matriarchal societies, where remembering relationships, alliances, and past events across decades provides survival advantages in unpredictable environments. The elephant's temporal gland, located between the eye and ear, secretes a dark, oily substance called temporin during periods of heightened emotional or physiological stress. This phenomenon, known as musth in males, involves a 50-fold increase in testosterone levels and dramatically altered behavior. Bulls and musths become aggressive, unpredictable, and singularly focused on mating, secreting temporin that stains their faces and emits a powerful odor detectable by other elephants from great distances. The evolutionary origins of musth remain debated among researchers, but prevailing theories suggest it serves as an honest signal of male fitness, as only healthy males can afford the metabolic costs of maintaining this state for months. Female elephants also secrete temporin during extreme stress, birth, or when protecting calves. Chemical analysis reveals temporin contains proteins, lipids, and pheromones that communicate physiological state to other herd members. Ancient elephant relatives, including the extinct Deinotherium, likely possessed similar temporal glands, suggesting this communication system has been conserved for millions of years as a crucial element of elephant social dynamics. Elephant skin, despite appearing thick and armored, functions as a remarkably sensitive organ riddled with nerve endings that detect the lightest touch of an insect landing on their back. The epidermis measures up to 3 centimeters thick in some areas, yet elephants can feel a fly and will use their tail, trunk, or a precisely aimed dust shower to remove it. This apparent paradox resolves when examining the skin structure. Beneath the thick outer layers lies a rich network of sensory receptors and nerve fibers. Elephants lack sebaceous glands and can't produce oils to moisturize their skin, making them dependent on mud baths, dust bathing, and water to prevent cracking and parasitic infections. The deeply wrinkled texture serves multiple functions beyond flexibility. Each crevice increases surface area, helping retain moisture and mud that acts as sunscreen and insect repellent. Recent thermal imaging studies demonstrate these wrinkles also enhance thermoregulation by increasing convective cooling. In the evolutionary timeline, as elephant ancestors grew larger and lost body hair, skin modifications became critical for managing heat in tropical environments where large body mass creates thermoregulatory challenges. The matriarchal structure of elephant society represents one of nature's most sophisticated examples of gerontocracy, where leadership correlates directly with age and accumulated knowledge. The eldest female, typically between 45 and 60 years old, makes decisions for the entire family unit based on decades of environmental memory. She remembers the locations of seasonal water sources, recognizes the calls of dozens of other family groups, and recalls migration routes her grandmother taught her as a calf. During severe droughts, groups led by older matriarchs demonstrate significantly higher survival rates than those led by younger females, as confirmed by decades of research in Amboseli National Park. This knowledge transfer system means that when poaching or culling removes older females, the social fabric disintegrates, and the remaining elephants lose access to critical survival information. Brain imaging reveals that older matriarchs show enhanced development in areas associated with memory and social processing. The evolutionary advantage of longevity in elephants directly relates to information accumulation. Unlike most mammals where reproductive capacity drives lifespan, elephant longevity evolved because post-reproductive females contribute essential knowledge to group survival. Elephant teeth represent a unique solution to the problem of dental wear in herbivores that consume highly abrasive vegetation. Unlike most mammals that develop 2 sets of teeth, elephants produce 6 sets of molars throughout their 70-year lifespan in a conveyor belt fashion. New molars form at the back of the jaw and slowly migrate forward as older teeth wear down and eventually fall out. Each molar can weigh up to 4 kilograms and measures the size of a brick, with complex ridges adapted for grinding tough plant matter. The dental formula changes across elephant evolution. Extinct species show variations in molar complexity reflecting different diets and environments. Mammoths possessed more numerous and thinner enamel plates suited for grinding the coarse grasses of Ice Age steppes, while modern Asian elephants retain molars better adapted for mixed forest vegetation. When an elephant's 6th and final set of molars wears out, typically around age 60 to 70, the animal can no longer properly process food and gradually succumbs to malnutrition. This dental limitation ultimately determines maximum lifespan, creating an evolutionary ceiling on longevity. The molar structure itself preserves remarkably well in fossil records, allowing paleontologists to reconstruct ancient elephant diets with extraordinary precision. The hippocampus in an elephant's brain exhibits exceptional development, correlating with their legendary memory capabilities that extend beyond simple recognition. Elephants remember specific individuals after decades of separation, recognize themselves in mirrors, and can mentally map water sources visited only once 20 years prior. Neurological studies reveal their hippocampus and cerebral cortex contain more neurons than human brains, despite different organizational patterns. The phenomenon called cognitive mapping allows elephants to maintain simultaneous awareness of multiple family groups' positions across territories spanning hundreds of square kilometers. Radiotelemetry data shows elephants navigate directly toward distant resources, suggesting they maintain mental representations of landscape features rather than following landmarks or scent trails. This spatial memory proved crucial during the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, when elephants in Thailand detected the approaching wave through seismic sensors and fled to higher ground minutes before the water struck, saving themselves and the tourists riding them. The evolutionary pressure for such memory capacity likely arose from unpredictable resource availability in African and Asian environments, where remembering past abundance patterns across years or decades confers survival advantages during climate variations. Elephant cardiovascular architecture reflects the engineering challenges of pumping blood through such massive bodies. An adult African elephant's heart weighs between 12 and 21 kilograms and beats at a resting rate of approximately 30 times per minute, less than half the human rate. This bradycardia proves adaptive for large mammals where slower heart rates increase efficiency and reduce metabolic costs. The aorta measures several centimeters in diameter, and blood pressure registers significantly higher than humans to overcome gravity's effect on circulation to the brain, which stands over 3 meters above the heart. Specialized valves prevent backflow, and the venous system includes numerous one-way gates that facilitate return flow against gravity from the feet. Recent discoveries reveal elephants possess remarkable resistance to cancer despite their size. Peto's paradox, the observation that cancer rates don't correlate with body size or lifespan, finds partial resolution in elephant genomes, which contain 20 copies of the tumor suppressor gene TP53 compared to 1 copy in humans. This genetic redundancy provides multiple backup systems for detecting and eliminating potentially cancerous cells, an evolutionary adaptation that emerged as elephants' ancestors grew larger over millions of years. The temporal lobes in elephant brains exceed those of any other land animal in both absolute and relative size, housing neural networks dedicated to processing social information and acoustic communication. These enlarged structures contain specialized regions for recognizing individual voices, remembering social relationships, and integrating emotional context with memory. When researchers play recorded calls of deceased matriarchs to their former family groups, elephants show agitation and confusion, searching for the source and demonstrating they remember specific individuals' vocalizations years after death. The neocortex exhibits extensive folding, creating surface area comparable to humans despite different proportions. Elephant cognition demonstrates characteristics once considered uniquely human. They use tools, recognize themselves in mirrors, show empathy toward other species, and modify their behavior based on understanding others' mental states. Comparative neuroanatomy suggests these cognitive abilities evolved convergently with primates, representing an independent solution to the challenges of complex social living. The fossil record indicates brain size expansion in elephant lineages occurred during the Miocene epoch, correlating with environmental changes that increased competition for resources and favored animals capable of sophisticated social cooperation and long-term planning. Elephant feet function as sophisticated shock absorbers through a unique fatty cushion system that distributes the immense weight of up to 6 tons across a relatively small surface area. The plantigrade foot structure means elephants walk on their toes while a fibrous tissue pad acts as a pneumatic cushion beneath the heel. This pad consists of adipose tissue, collagen fibers, and elastin arranged in a honeycomb structure that compresses under weight and rebounds with each step, absorbing impact that would otherwise shatter leg bones. The foot expands when bearing weight and contracts when lifted, changing surface area by approximately 15%. This expansion creates pressure distribution that prevents the animal from sinking in soft terrain like mud or sand, functioning as natural snowshoes. Seismic communication relies heavily on foot anatomy. Specialized receptors in the foot pads detect ground vibrations with extraordinary sensitivity. Biomechanical analysis reveals elephants employ a unique gait that's neither true walking nor running but a peculiar ambling motion where legs move in a rotary pattern. Unlike most mammals, elephants can't jump because their feet lack the tendon elasticity for explosive power, an evolutionary trade-off where stability and weight distribution superseded agility. The evolution of elephants reveals a story written across 60 million years, beginning with the pig-sized Phosphatherium in North Africa during the Paleocene epoch. These early proboscideans lacked trunks, possessed modest body sizes, and likely inhabited semi-aquatic environments. The elongation of nasal structures occurred gradually across multiple lineages, driven by the evolutionary advantages of a versatile feeding appendage as species grew larger and shifted to terrestrial herbivory. During the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, elephant diversity exploded into dozens of genera adapting to every conceivable ecological niche from forests to grasslands. Gomphotherium possessed 4 tusks and a shovel-like lower jaw for aquatic plant extraction. Platybelodon evolved a bizarre flattened tusk configuration for scraping bark. Deinotheres featured downward-curving lower tusks of uncertain function. This radiation produced elephant relatives on every continent except Australia and Antarctica. Climate shifts during the Pleistocene drove many lineages to extinction, but also enabled mammoths and mastodons to colonize northern latitudes, developing thick fur and specialized cold adaptations. Today's 3 species, African bush elephant, African forest elephant, and Asian elephant, represent the sparse remnants of this once spectacular diversity. Elephants modify their environment so profoundly they function as ecosystem engineers, species whose activities create habitat for countless other organisms. When elephants push over trees to access foliage, they create gaps in forest canopies that allow light penetration, stimulating understory plant growth and increasing botanical diversity. These down trees provide food and habitat for insects, fungi, reptiles, and small mammals. Elephant dung serves as a crucial dispersal mechanism for seeds of hundreds of plant species, some of which germinate only after passage through elephant digestive systems. Seeds embedded in nutrient-rich dung deposits enjoy enhanced germination success compared to those falling directly to ground. Elephants excavate water holes during dry seasons, creating oases that sustain entire communities of animals when other water sources disappear. Their trails through dense vegetation become highways for smaller species and channel water flow during rains, affecting watershed hydrology. In Kruger National Park, the presence or absence of elephants measurably affects vegetation structure, fire patterns, carbon storage, and the abundance of dozens of other species. This ecological importance means elephant extinction would trigger cascading effects throughout African and Asian ecosystems, fundamentally restructuring these environments in ways that might persist for millennia. The elephant's reproductive strategy involves the longest gestation period of any land mammal, lasting approximately 22 months from conception to birth. This extended development period allows the calf's brain to reach sufficient size and complexity for the demanding cognitive requirements of elephant society. Newborn calves weigh between 70 and 120 kilograms and can walk within hours, though they remain utterly dependent on mother's milk for years. Female elephants experience estrus cycles lasting approximately 16 weeks, with a brief 4-day fertility window that males detect through chemical signals in urine. The elaborate mating process involves males using their trunks to sample female urine, transferring it to the vomeronasal organ in the roof of the mouth through a behavior called flamen. Females select mates, often preferring older bulls in musth whose size and experience indicate genetic quality. Alloparenting, where multiple females care for all calves within a family group, provides redundancy ensuring infant survival even if mothers die. Calves nurse for 3 to 4 years, though they begin sampling vegetation within months. The interbirth interval of 4 to 5 years means females produce only 4 to 6 offspring across their reproductive lifespan, making population recovery from hunting or disease exceptionally slow. Elephant tusks represent modified incisor teeth that grow continuously throughout life, comprised of dentine rather than enamel and exhibiting a distinctive crosshatched pattern called Schreger lines visible in cross-section. These structures serve multiple functions: digging for water, minerals, and roots, stripping bark, fighting, and establishing dominance hierarchies. Individual elephants show handedness, preferring left or right tusks for routine tasks, creating asymmetric wear patterns. Tusk size and shape vary dramatically across populations, reflecting both genetics and environmental factors. Some Asian elephant populations include tuskless individuals, particularly females, a trait that's rapidly increasing in frequency in poached populations through artificial selection pressure where tusked individuals face higher mortality. The ivory trade has created one of history's most destructive examples of anthropogenic evolution, selecting for tusklessness over just decades. Chemically, ivory consists of calcium phosphate, collagen, and trace elements that record life history information similar to tree rings. Isotope analysis of ivory reveals geographical origins, dietary patterns, and exposure to environmental contaminants, allowing forensic scientists to trace contraband ivory back to specific populations. Paleontological evidence shows the extinct straight-tusked elephant possessed tusks exceeding 4 meters in length. The elephant's digestive system processes massive quantities of vegetation with remarkable inefficiency, extracting only about 44% of consumed nutrients. An adult elephant consumes between 150 and 300 kilograms of plant matter daily, requiring 16 to 18 hours of near-constant foraging. This apparent inefficiency becomes strategic when considered ecologically. Elephants act as mobile nutrient distributors, collecting plant material from wide areas and depositing partially digested matter in concentrated dung piles that fertilize soil and disperse seeds. The digestive tract stretches over 35 meters from mouth to anus, with a capacious hindgut fermentation system where symbiotic bacteria break down cellulose. Unlike ruminants that ferment food in forestomachs through cud chewing, elephants employ single-pass hindgut fermentation, trading efficiency for processing speed that allows higher intake volumes. This system explains why elephant dung remains fibrous and intact, containing recognizable plant fragments. Gut microbiome analysis reveals elephants harbor unique bacterial communities that vary geographically, potentially allowing populations to extract nutrients from locally available vegetation. When elephants consume soil from specific sites, called geophagy, they obtain essential minerals like sodium and calcium absent from plant tissues, a behavior passed culturally from mothers to calves across generations. The social intelligence of elephants manifests in sophisticated cooperation, teaching, and cultural transmission of knowledge between generations. Calves learn which plants are edible, how to extract water from dry riverbeds, and appropriate social behaviors through observation and instruction from experienced females. Researchers document distinct cultural variations between elephant populations, including unique vocalizations, tool use techniques, and migration routes that aren't genetically determined but socially transmitted. Some families teach calves to plug wells they've dug to prevent water loss and restrict access by other animals. Others demonstrate specialized bark stripping techniques for accessing nutritious cambium layers. These behaviors qualify as culture, defined as information transmission through social learning rather than genetic inheritance. Experiments confirm elephants understand cooperation's requirements, coordinating with partners to simultaneously pull ropes for rewards and refusing to participate when partners fail their responsibilities. They also show targeted helping behavior, assisting injured or trapped companions without immediate personal benefit. The neural substrates for this social intelligence include the aforementioned spindle neurons, but also expanded association cortices where sensory information integrates with memory and emotion. The evolutionary development of such pronounced social intelligence likely co-evolved with long lifespans and complex fission-fusion societies. Elephant vocal communication extends far beyond infrasonic calls, encompassing a rich repertoire of rumbles, roars, trumpets, cries, barks, and snorts that convey specific information. High-frequency vocalizations above human hearing also exist, creating a communication system spanning 9 octaves from approximately 14 to 10,000 Hz. Contact calls maintain group cohesion, allowing dispersed family members to coordinate movements. Alarm calls warn of predators with variations distinguishing lions from humans. Greeting ceremonies involve elaborate vocal exchanges with specific phrases for different relationships. Females emit estrus calls that attract males from vast distances, while male must rumbles advertise reproductive condition and dominance. Recent research reveals elephants produce vocalizations through modified vocal cord vibrations in ways distinct from other mammals, involving unusual laryngeal structures. They also produce sounds through trunk resonance, creating variety in timbre and propagation characteristics. Analysis of wild recordings demonstrates context-specific call usage suggesting referential communication where sounds represent external objects or events rather than merely expressing internal emotional states. Calves develop their vocal repertoire through years of learning, initially producing immature calls that gradually refine through practice and social feedback. The complexity of elephant communication parallels cetacean acoustic systems, representing convergent evolution towards sophisticated vocal signaling in large, social, long-lived mammals. The relationship between elephants and humans spans millennia, encompassing worship, warfare, labor, and conflict. Ancient civilizations revered elephants for intelligence and power, incorporating them into religious iconography from Ganesha in Hinduism to symbols of wisdom in Buddhism. Hannibal's famous crossing of the Alps with war elephants during the Second Punic War demonstrated their military applications, though most elephants in his forces were the now extinct North African elephant, a species smaller than modern bush elephants. Asian elephants served for millennia in logging operations, ceremonies, and warfare throughout Southeast Asia, with capture and training methods passed through generations of Mahout families. The ivory trade decimated African populations during the 19th and 20th centuries, reducing numbers from approximately 5 million elephants in 1900 to less than 400,000 today. Modern conservation faces complex challenges balancing elephant protection with human agricultural needs as expanding human populations encroach on elephant ranges. Human-elephant conflict kills approximately 500 people annually, primarily in India, while elephants damage millions of dollars worth of crops, creating animosity toward conservation efforts. Recent approaches emphasize coexistence through barrier systems, early warning networks, and compensation schemes, recognizing both species must share increasingly limited landscapes. Elephant communication encompasses not only acoustic and seismic channels but also sophisticated chemical signaling through urine, dung, temporal gland secretions, and breath. Females deposit urine containing hormonal information that males sample using trunk and vomeronasal organ, assessing reproductive status with remarkable precision. During estrus, urine concentrations of specific compounds increase dramatically, creating olfactory beacons detectable by males across kilometers. Males produce musth urine with distinct chemical signatures advertising dominance and testosterone levels, allowing other males to assess competitors without dangerous physical confrontations. Temporal gland secretions contain pheromones, proteins, and lipids that communicate physiological and emotional states. Even breath carries information. Elephants exhale through their trunks toward companions during greetings, potentially exchanging chemical signals about health, diet, or emotional state. The olfactory bulb in elephant brains shows exceptional development, and genetic analysis reveals they possess approximately 2,000 functional olfactory receptor genes, the largest repertoire identified in any mammal, exceeding even dogs renowned for scent abilities. This chemical communication system likely evolved because elephants occupy vast territories where visual and acoustic signals face limitations, while chemical signatures persist in the environment, providing information about individuals who passed hours or days earlier. The extinct woolly mammoth, closely related to Asian elephants, dominated Pleistocene landscapes across Eurasia and North America, surviving until approximately 4,000 years ago on Arctic islands. Woolly mammoths evolved remarkable cold adaptations including dense fur covering bodies in 2 layers, coarse outer guard hairs exceeding 90 centimeters and fine underwool providing insulation. Small ears and short tails minimized frostbite risk compared to modern elephants' large heat-dissipating ears. Specialized hemoglobin variants functioned efficiently at low temperatures when oxygen metabolism typically slows. Their ecological role involved maintaining grassland ecosystems through grazing pressure that prevented forest expansion, creating productive steppe tundra environments supporting diverse megafauna. Mammoth extinction coincided with human expansion and rapid climate change at the Pleistocene-Holocene boundary, though debates continue regarding the relative importance of hunting versus environmental factors. Remarkably preserved specimens recovered from Siberian permafrost provide unprecedented insights into extinct species biology, with stomach contents revealing last meals and DNA analysis illuminating genetic relationships. Modern genetic engineering technologies raise theoretical possibilities of mammoth de-extinction through editing Asian elephant genomes, though ethical, ecological, and practical challenges render such projects highly controversial. The mammoth's disappearance represents one example of the larger megafaunal extinction event that eliminated most large mammals globally, fundamentally restructuring ecosystems in ways still detectable today. Elephants demonstrate impressive mathematical and cognitive abilities in experimental settings that challenge assumptions about animal intelligence. Researchers confirm elephants can distinguish quantities, selecting larger food portions with accuracy suggesting basic numerical cognition. They understand object permanence, tracking hidden items and predicting their locations after displacement. Tool use appears in multiple contexts. Elephants modify branches to appropriate lengths for swatting insects, stack objects to reach food, and use sticks to scratch unreachable areas. Problem-solving experiments show elephants employ insight learning, suddenly arriving at solutions without trial and error, indicating mental simulation of actions before execution. They also exhibit metacognition, awareness of their own knowledge states, declining to perform tasks when uncertain rather than guessing randomly. Mirror self-recognition experiments demonstrate Asian elephants recognize their reflections, touching marks on their bodies visible only in mirrors, a capacity shared with great apes, cetaceans, and magpies, suggesting convergent evolution of self-awareness. The neural basis for these abilities remains under investigation, but elephants' large brains, extended juvenile periods allowing prolonged learning, and complex social environments likely created selection pressures favoring cognitive sophistication. Comparative studies reveal elephants outperform great apes on some cooperative tasks despite primate-centric biases in intelligence research, highlighting the dangers of anthropocentric assumptions about cognitive evolution. The extinction of the straight-tusked elephant, Paleoloxodon antiquus, during the late Pleistocene removed the largest land mammal to inhabit Europe and Asia. Adult males reached heights of 4 meters and weights of 13 tons, substantially exceeding modern elephants. These giants browse temperate forests across Mediterranean regions during interglacial periods, retreating southward during glacial advances. Archaeological evidence reveals early humans hunted Paleoloxodon, with butchery sites containing accumulations of bones from dozens of individuals. Whether these kills involved active hunting or scavenging remains debated, though wooden spears found lodged in skeletal remains suggest at least occasional direct predation. The relationship between human cognitive and technological development and megafaunal extinctions worldwide constitutes one of paleontology's most contentious questions, with implications for understanding our species' environmental impact. Paleoloxodon tusks exhibited extreme sexual dimorphism, with males possessing dramatically larger ivory than females, suggesting intense male-male competition and possibly lekking behavior where dominant males controlled breeding access to multiple females. Genetic analysis reveals Paleoloxodon shares closer relationships with African forest elephants than with Asian elephants, indicating the African-Asian split occurred before the forest-savanna division, contradicting earlier morphological classifications. The ecological void left by Paleoloxodon extinction likely affected European vegetation structure, though disentangling effects from simultaneous climate change and megafaunal community collapse remains challenging. Elephant thermoregulation represents an ongoing challenge given their massive body size generates substantial metabolic heat while surface area increases more slowly than volume. Large ears function as radiators, containing extensive blood vessel networks where arterial blood loses heat through convection and radiation. African elephants possess larger ears than Asian elephants, reflecting adaptation to hotter, more open habitats versus partly forested Asian environments. Elephants enhance cooling by flapping ears, creating airflow across blood vessels, and by wetting ears with trunk-sprayed water, utilizing evaporative cooling. Behavioral thermoregulation includes seeking shade during peak temperatures, mud bathing, and adjusting activity patterns to avoid midday heat. The temporal rhythm of elephant activity in hot regions shows pronounced bimodal patterns with dawn and dusk peaks flanking midday rest periods. Thermal imaging reveals elephants can selectively increase or decrease blood flow to specific body regions, creating visible temperature variations across their bodies. They also employ heterothermy, allowing body temperature to rise during heat stress and cooling during night when radiative heat loss to clear skies proves more effective. This controlled hyperthermia reduces water requirements for evaporative cooling, crucial during dry seasons when water scarcity limits thermoregulatory options. Climate change projections suggest rising temperatures may increase elephant heat stress, potentially restricting activity periods and forcing range contractions toward cooler, wetter regions. The concept of elephant graveyards, places where elephants supposedly gather to die, persists in folklore despite lacking scientific support. This myth likely originated from observations of multiple elephant skeletons accumulated at specific locations, explained by elephants seeking water during droughts and dying near remaining water sources, or by sick elephants seeking soft vegetation in marshy areas where they subsequently succumb. Elephants do show fascination with bones, particularly elephant bones, investigating remains with obvious interest and even carrying tusks and bones for distances. Whether this behavior reflects true understanding of death remains scientifically uncertain, though their reactions to dead companions suggest some awareness that death represents a permanent state. The mourning behaviors elephants display, standing vigil, trying to lift dead calves, returning to death sites, indicate emotional responses to loss that parallel human grief in observable if not conscious ways. Neurological evidence of spindle neurons and expanded limbic structures supports the capacity for complex emotions. Evolutionary theories suggest mourning behaviors may have originated as adaptive responses promoting maternal care and group cohesion, subsequently elaborated through cognitive expansion into more complex emotional experiences. The question of whether elephants contemplate mortality or experience emotions qualitatively similar to human grief remains philosophically challenging, touching fundamental questions about consciousness and subjective experience in non-human minds. Elephant hearing sensitivity extends across an extraordinary frequency range from approximately 14 Hz infrasound to approximately 12,000 Hz, though sensitivity peaks in infrasonic ranges where they produce their most powerful communications. The middle ear contains modifications enabling detection of low-frequency vibrations, including specialized ossicle proportions and unique attachment configurations. The tympanic membrane exhibits large surface area enhancing sensitivity to pressure variations in infrasonic frequencies. Beyond aerial hearing, elephants detect seismic vibrations through specialized mechanoreceptors concentrated in foot pads and trunk tips, effectively hearing through bone conduction. This dual modality system allows detection of both airborne and ground-borne components of vocalizations, with ground transmission often carrying farther in environments where vegetation and terrain obstruct aerial sound. Research demonstrates elephants can distinguish between airborne and seismic signals, using information from both channels to locate callers with greater accuracy than either channel alone provides. The neurological processing of seismic information likely involves somatosensory pathways distinct from auditory processing, though integration presumably occurs in association cortices. During the evolution of large body size, the capacity for infrasonic production and detection emerged as advantageous for maintaining social contact across expanding home ranges, with seismic sensitivity potentially developing as a secondary adaptation exploiting low-frequency sound transmission through substrates. The critically endangered status of Asian elephants reflects accelerating habitat loss as human populations convert forests to agriculture across South and Southeast Asia. Fewer than 50,000 Asian elephants survive in the wild, fragmented across 13 range countries with many populations numbering fewer than 100 individuals. This fragmentation prevents gene flow between populations, creating genetic bottlenecks that reduce diversity and increase inbreeding depression. Small isolated populations face heightened extinction risk from stochastic events like disease outbreaks or demographic fluctuations. The Buddhist cultural tradition of reverence toward elephants provides some protection, though conflicts over crop raiding generate local hostility. Captive Asian elephant populations number approximately 15,000, primarily in range countries where they work in tourism and logging. These captive populations rarely reproduce successfully due to stress, inadequate nutrition, and management practices that separate potential breeders. The ethics of elephant captivity generates intense debate, with animal welfare advocates arguing the physical and psychological demands of training and work cause unacceptable suffering, while proponents contend well-managed captive populations provide insurance against extinction and generate economic incentives for conservation. Recent genetic studies reveal Asian elephants split from mammoths approximately 7 million years ago, diverging earlier than previously assumed, and show significant genetic structure between Sri Lankan, Indian, and Southeast Asian populations, potentially warranting recognition of multiple subspecies or even species. African forest elephants, recognized as a distinct species in recent years based on genetic and morphological evidence, inhabit dense equatorial rainforests from West Africa through the Congo Basin. They possess straighter, downward-pointing tusks adapted for forest navigation, smaller and more oval ears, and distinctive skull characteristics. Forest elephants demonstrate different ecological roles than savanna elephants, focusing feeding efforts on fruit and serving as primary seed dispersers for hundreds of tree species. Some trees produce fruits that germinate successfully only after elephant gut passage, creating obligate mutualisms where both species' survival interlinks. DNA analysis reveals forest and savanna elephants separated approximately 5 million years ago, showing genetic divergence comparable to that between Asian elephants and mammoths, strongly supporting separate species status. Forest elephants face catastrophic declines, with populations reduced by over 60% in the past decade due to ivory poaching facilitated by logging roads that penetrate previously inaccessible areas. The dense habitat makes population surveys extremely difficult. Researchers rely on dung counts, camera traps, and genetic sampling from dung to estimate numbers. Forest elephant behavioral ecology remains poorly understood compared to savanna elephants, with observations hampered by vegetation density and low visibility. They appear to form smaller, more fluid family groups, possibly adapting to forest environments where resources distribute patchily and large aggregations prove unsustainable. The role of elephants in nutrient cycling extends beyond seed dispersal to include nitrogen and phosphorus redistribution across landscapes. Elephants feed in productive areas, then deposit nutrient-concentrated dung in other locations, creating fertility gradients. In Kruger National Park studies, researchers documented increased soil nutrients and enhanced plant growth near elephant dung concentration areas compared to control sites. This nutrient transport particularly affects nutrient-poor environments where elephant movements from riparian zones to uplands carry water-derived nutrients into xeric areas that would otherwise remain severely nutrient-limited. The magnitude of this transport scales with population density. Areas with higher elephant concentrations show greater nutrient heterogeneity at landscape scales. Each elephant produces approximately 150 kilograms of dung daily, meaning herds create massive nutrient pulses. Dung decomposition supports specialized invertebrate communities, particularly dung beetles that rapidly process and bury elephant dung, further distributing nutrients into soil profiles. These beetles provide food for birds, small mammals, and reptiles, linking elephant metabolism to food webs far removed from elephants themselves. Some plant species appear adapted to exploit elephant dung microsites, germinating preferentially in these nutrient-rich patches. The evolutionary history of such adaptations potentially extends back millions of years to when diverse elephant relatives occupied these ecosystems. Elephants exhibit handedness in trunk usage, consistently preferring left or right sides when performing tasks requiring dexterity. This lateralization manifests in asymmetric tusk wear, with the preferred tusk showing greater abrasion from routine use in digging, stripping bark, and manipulating objects. Studies document individual consistency in lateral preferences across contexts, suggesting underlying neural asymmetries in motor control. Brain imaging confirms structural and functional lateralization in elephant brains, particularly in motor and sensory cortices controlling trunk movements. The evolutionary origins of lateralization remain debated, with theories proposing advantages in neural efficiency through specialized hemisphere functions. Lateralization appears widespread across animal taxa from insects to humans, suggesting ancient roots possibly dating to early nervous system evolution. In elephants, the extreme complexity of trunk control involving 40,000 muscles potentially creates enhanced benefits to lateralization compared to animals with simpler motor repertoires. Population-level biases in lateralization direction show interesting patterns. Some populations show random individual preferences while others demonstrate population-level right or left biases, potentially reflecting cultural transmission of trunk use techniques from mothers to calves. Whether genetic factors influence individual lateralization direction remains unknown, though twin studies in captive elephants could theoretically address this question. Lateralization research provides insights into brain organization and evolution of complex motor control across animal diversity. The impact of elephant social disruption through poaching and culling extends beyond immediate mortality, creating psychological trauma in surviving elephants that manifests across generations. Young elephants who witness their mothers being killed show behavioral abnormalities including heightened aggression, aberrant social interactions, and stress responses. Orphaned calves raised without experienced matriarchs fail to learn appropriate social behaviors, creating cohorts of socially incompetent adults who struggle to integrate into functional family groups. In Pilanesberg National Park, juvenile male elephants orphaned during culling operations and relocated without adult bulls exhibited aberrant aggression, killing over 100 rhinoceroses in unprecedented attacks. The introduction of adult bull elephants immediately curtailed this behavior, as older males enforced discipline and provided behavioral models. This natural experiment demonstrated the critical role of social structure in regulating elephant behavior and transmitting cultural norms. Similar observations from areas where poaching intensely targets adult females reveal disrupted family structures with inexperienced leaders making poor decisions about resource use and predator avoidance. The multi-generational effects create conservation challenges extending decades beyond the cessation of killing. Recent research documents elevated stress hormones in elephants inhabiting heavily poached regions compared to protected populations, indicating chronic stress responses that affect reproductive success, disease resistance, and lifespan. These findings suggest elephant conservation requires not only protecting animals from mortality but also preserving intact social structures essential for psychological well-being. Elephant habitat requirements encompass vast landscapes, with individual home ranges varying from 30 to over 3,000 square kilometers depending on resource availability and habitat quality. This mobility allows elephants to track seasonal resource fluctuations, moving between wet season dispersal areas and dry season refuges where permanent water persists. Historical elephant ranges in Africa encompassed most of the continent except the most arid deserts, while Asian elephants occupied habitats from Mesopotamia to China. Current distributions represent fragmented remnants of these historical ranges, with elephants persisting primarily in protected areas surrounded by agricultural lands. This fragmentation creates conservation challenges as elephant populations trapped within small reserves cannot maintain natural movement patterns, leading to habitat degradation through overuse. Elephants are classified as landscape species or umbrella species, requiring such extensive habitat that protecting elephant ranges simultaneously protects countless other species with smaller spatial requirements. Conservation strategies emphasizing corridor establishment aim to reconnect fragmented populations, allowing gene flow and seasonal movements between protected areas. The Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area represents the world's largest terrestrial conservation initiative, spanning 5 nations and 360,000 square kilometers, explicitly designed to protect elephant migration routes. Climate change modeling suggests shifting rainfall patterns will alter vegetation distributions, potentially requiring elephants to shift ranges or face population declines if dispersal barriers prevent tracking suitable habitat as it geographically relocates. The specialized anatomy of elephant ears extends beyond thermoregulation to include communication functions. Ear position communicates emotional state and intentions. Spread ears indicate aggression or alarm, while relaxed ears suggest calm. During aggressive displays, elephants stand tall with ears extended, maximizing apparent body size in threat gestures. The characteristic elephant ear flap produces audible sounds used in social contexts, with the sharp crack potentially functioning as an acoustic threat or attention-getting signal. Blood vessels in ears create visible patterns that vary individually, potentially allowing elephants to recognize specific individuals visually from ear vein configurations, analogous to human face recognition. The evolutionary enlargement of elephant ears likely resulted from multiple selective pressures including thermoregulation, communication, and threat display. Fossil evidence shows stepwise ear expansion across elephant evolution, with extinct species showing intermediate ear sizes between short-eared ancestors and modern forms. Geographic variation in ear size correlates with climate, supporting thermoregulatory functions as primary drivers, though communication benefits probably reinforced selection once ears exceeded minimum sizes for heat dissipation. Elephant ears continue growing throughout life, with ear area increasing proportionally with body size, maintaining consistent surface area to volume ratios necessary for effective thermoregulation as individuals mature from 100-kilogram calves to 5-ton adults. Ear damage from fighting or thorns occurs commonly in wild populations, with torn or notched ears providing individual identification markers researchers use for long-term identification in field studies. Elephants possess remarkable regenerative capabilities for a mammal of their size, healing wounds that would prove fatal in smaller species. Large injuries from predator attacks or intraspecific fighting typically heal without infection despite exposure to contaminated environments. This resistance likely relates to their expanded repertoire of immune genes, particularly those involved in antimicrobial defense. The elephant genome contains duplications of genes producing antimicrobial peptides, providing enhanced protection against bacterial infections. Additionally, their aforementioned TP53 gene copies not only suppress cancer but also enhance apoptotic responses to damaged cells, potentially contributing to wound healing efficiency. Elephants show rapid tissue regeneration, with superficial wounds healing within days and deeper injuries resolving within weeks. They appear to feel pain similarly to other mammals, showing distress responses to injuries and favoring wounded limbs, though their thick skin provides substantial protection against many injuries that would penetrate other animals' integument. Traditional remedies across elephant range countries employ various plants to treat elephant wounds, suggesting indigenous knowledge recognized elephants' medicinal plant use and adopted similar applications. Whether elephants deliberately self-medicate remains uncertain, though observations of injured animals consuming plants not normally eaten, particularly those with antimicrobial properties, suggest possible medicinal use. The comparative study of elephant healing and regeneration might inform human medicine, particularly regarding cancer resistance mechanisms and enhanced antimicrobial defenses that could inspire therapeutic approaches. The relationship between elephants and trees encompasses both destructive and mutualistic aspects, varying seasonally and contextually. During droughts, elephants strip bark for moisture and nutrients, sometimes killing trees through complete debarking. They push over trees to access foliage, creating visible impact in areas with high elephant densities. However, many tree species exhibit adaptations suggesting coevolution with elephants. Certain acacias produce induced defenses, rapidly increasing tannin concentrations following elephant browsing, making foliage unpalatable and causing elephants to move to other trees. Some tree species tolerate elephant damage, resprouting vigorously from damaged trunks or surviving complete debarking through cambial regeneration. The seed dispersal services elephants provide many species outweigh damage costs at population levels. Trees invest heavily in large, nutritious fruits attractive to elephants, effectively paying elephants for dispersal. Some fruits contain seeds with protective coats that require passage through elephant digestive systems to scarify and enable germination. Spatial patterns of tree recruitment in African savannas show non-random distributions related to elephant movement patterns, with seedling clustering near traditional elephant pathways and resting areas where dung deposition concentrates. Evolutionary modeling suggests stable mutualism emerges when elephants limit populations below levels causing catastrophic tree mortality, while trees maintain fruit production sufficient to support elephant populations. Current concern about elephant impact on vegetation stems partly from elephants being confined in small reserves at densities exceeding natural levels, creating artificially intense browsing pressure. Elephant habitat requirements encompass vast landscapes, with individual home ranges varying from 30 to over 3,000 square kilometers depending on resource availability and habitat quality. This mobility allows elephants to track seasonal resource fluctuations, moving between wet season dispersal areas and dry season refuges where permanent water persists. Historical elephant ranges in Africa encompassed most of the continent except the most arid deserts, while Asian elephants occupied habitats from Mesopotamia to China. Current distributions represent fragmented remnants of these historical ranges, with elephants persisting primarily in protected areas surrounded by agricultural lands. This fragmentation creates conservation challenges as elephant populations trapped within small reserves cannot maintain natural movement patterns, leading to habitat degradation through overuse. Elephants are classified as landscape species or umbrella species, requiring such extensive habitat that protecting elephant ranges simultaneously protects countless other species with smaller spatial requirements. Conservation strategies emphasizing corridor establishment aim to reconnect fragmented populations, allowing gene flow and seasonal movements between protected areas. The Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area represents the world's largest terrestrial conservation initiative, spanning 5 nations and 360,000 square kilometers, explicitly designed to protect elephant migration routes. Climate change modeling suggests shifting rainfall patterns will alter vegetation distributions, potentially requiring elephants to shift ranges or face population declines if dispersal barriers prevent tracking suitable habitat as it geographically relocates. The specialized anatomy of elephant ears extends beyond thermoregulation to include communication functions. Ear position communicates emotional state and intentions. Spread ears indicate aggression or alarm, while relaxed ears suggest calm. During aggressive displays, elephants stand tall with ears extended, maximizing apparent body size in threat gestures. The characteristic elephant ear flap produces audible sounds used in social contexts, with the sharp crack potentially functioning as an acoustic threat or attention-getting signal. Blood vessels in ears create visible patterns that vary individually, potentially allowing elephants to recognize specific individuals visually from ear vein configurations, analogous to human face recognition. The evolutionary enlargement of elephant ears likely resulted from multiple selective pressures including thermoregulation, communication, and threat display. Fossil evidence shows stepwise ear expansion across elephant evolution, with extinct species showing intermediate ear sizes between short-eared ancestors and modern forms. Geographic variation in ear size correlates with climate, supporting thermoregulatory functions as primary drivers, though communication benefits probably reinforced selection once ears exceeded minimum sizes for heat dissipation. Elephant ears continue growing throughout life, with ear area increasing proportionally with body size, maintaining consistent surface area to volume ratios necessary for effective thermoregulation as individuals mature from 100-kilogram calves to 5-ton adults. Ear damage from fighting or thorns occurs commonly in wild populations, with torn or notched ears providing individual identification markers researchers use for long-term identification in field studies. Elephants possess remarkable regenerative capabilities for a mammal of their size, healing wounds that would prove fatal in smaller species. Large injuries from predator attacks or intraspecific fighting typically heal without infection despite exposure to contaminated environments. This resistance likely relates to their expanded repertoire of immune genes, particularly those involved in antimicrobial defense. The elephant genome contains duplications of genes producing antimicrobial peptides, providing enhanced protection against bacterial infections. Additionally, their aforementioned TP53 gene copies not only suppress cancer but also enhance apoptotic responses to damaged cells, potentially contributing to wound healing efficiency. Elephants show rapid tissue regeneration, with superficial wounds healing within days and deeper injuries resolving within weeks. They appear to feel pain similarly to other mammals, showing distress responses to injuries and favoring wounded limbs, though their thick skin provides substantial protection against many injuries that would penetrate other animals' integument. Traditional remedies across elephant range countries employ various plants to treat elephant wounds, suggesting indigenous knowledge recognized elephants' medicinal plant use and adopted similar applications. Whether elephants deliberately self-medicate remains uncertain, though observations of injured animals consuming plants not normally eaten, particularly those with antimicrobial properties, suggest possible medicinal use. The comparative study of elephant healing and regeneration might inform human medicine, particularly regarding cancer resistance mechanisms and enhanced antimicrobial defenses that could inspire therapeutic approaches. The relationship between elephants and trees encompasses both destructive and mutualistic aspects, varying seasonally and contextually. During droughts, elephants strip bark for moisture and nutrients, sometimes killing trees through complete debarking. They push over trees to access foliage, creating visible impact in areas with high elephant densities. However, many tree species exhibit adaptations suggesting coevolution with elephants. Certain acacias produce induced defenses, rapidly increasing tannin concentrations following elephant browsing, making foliage unpalatable and causing elephants to move to other trees. Some tree species tolerate elephant damage, resprouting vigorously from damaged trunks or surviving complete debarking through cambial regeneration. The seed dispersal services elephants provide many species outweigh damage costs at population levels. Trees invest heavily in large, nutritious fruits attractive to elephants, effectively paying elephants for dispersal. Some fruits contain seeds with protective coats that require passage through elephant digestive systems to scarify and enable germination. Spatial patterns of tree recruitment in African savannas show non-random distributions related to elephant movement patterns, with seedling clustering near traditional elephant pathways and resting areas where dung deposition concentrates. Evolutionary modeling suggests stable mutualism emerges when elephants limit populations below levels causing catastrophic tree mortality, while trees maintain fruit production sufficient to support elephant populations. Current concern about elephant impact on vegetation stems partly from elephants being confined in small reserves at densities exceeding natural levels, creating artificially intense browsing pressure. Elephant intelligence manifests in sophisticated problem-solving that adjusts to novel challenges without extensive trial-and-error learning. Experimental studies demonstrate elephants rapidly learn to obtain rewards requiring coordinated actions, such as simultaneously pulling ropes or depressing platforms. They understand causality, predicting outcomes of mechanical systems after brief observation. In one experiment, elephants immediately recognized that moving platforms they stood on made attached food inaccessible, stepping off to allow pulling the platform within reach, demonstrating understanding of their bodies as physical obstacles. This body awareness, termed body consciousness, requires cognitive integration of self into physical models of the environment. Elephants also show impressive flexibility, adjusting strategies when initial approaches fail rather than perseverating on unsuccessful tactics. They learn through observation, copying solutions demonstrated by humans or other elephants without needing personal trial-and-error experience. Cultural transmission of solutions occurs, with innovations spreading through populations as observed in wild elephants learning to break into granaries or raid specific crops. Problem-solving abilities likely evolved in response to environmental unpredictability. Elephants face highly variable resource availability requiring flexible behavioral responses rather than rigid instinctual patterns. Comparative cognitive research suggests elephants, cetaceans, and great apes converged on similar intelligence despite independent evolution, implying general principles where large brains, extended development, and complex social lives co-evolve with advanced cognition, providing insights into intelligence evolution broadly. The extinction risk facing elephants encompasses multiple interconnected threats beyond poaching, including habitat loss, human-wildlife conflict, climate change, and disease. Linear infrastructure like roads, railways, and canals fragments elephant ranges, increasing mortality through collisions and restricting movements. Agricultural expansion eliminates habitat while creating crop-raiding opportunities that generate human-elephant conflict. Retaliatory killing in response to property damage or human deaths accounts for significant elephant mortality in countries like India and Sri Lanka. Climate change modeling projects rainfall pattern shifts that could reduce habitat suitability across substantial portions of elephant ranges, potentially forcing range contractions with genetic consequences. Emerging infectious diseases pose uncertain threats. Elephant endotheliotropic herpes virus causes fatal hemorrhagic disease in young elephants, with outbreaks in captive populations raising concerns about spillover into wild populations. The interaction between multiple stressors creates synergistic effects where populations weakened by one factor become more vulnerable to others. Small isolated populations face genetic threats from inbreeding depression, demographic stochasticity, and Ali effects where low densities reduce breeding opportunities. Conservation responses require integrated landscape approaches addressing multiple threats simultaneously while maintaining habitat connectivity. Successful examples exist. Elephant populations in southern Africa generally stabilize or increase under effective protection, demonstrating recovery potential when threats ameliorate. However, replicating this success across fragmented Asian landscapes with dense human populations presents enormous challenges requiring innovative coexistence strategies balancing human needs with elephant conservation. Elephants occupy significant positions in human culture, mythology, and religion across societies within their geographical ranges. Hindu mythology venerates Ganesha, the elephant-headed deity representing wisdom and remover of obstacles, among the most widely worshipped deities. Buddhism incorporates elephants symbolizing mental strength, with white elephants holding particular spiritual significance. Buddha's mother supposedly dreamed of a white elephant before his conception. The Ashoka Pillar's four-lion capital stands on an abacus featuring elephant, horse, bull, and lion reliefs. In African traditions, elephants feature in countless oral histories, proverbs, and moral tales teaching wisdom, strength, and community values. Western cultures historically viewed elephants as exotic symbols of power and intelligence, featured prominently in heraldry, literature, and entertainment. Unfortunately, this fascination historically drove capture for zoos and circuses, with brutal training methods and inadequate care causing suffering. Modern attitudes increasingly reject elephant entertainment, recognizing the ethical problems inherent in confining intelligent, social, wide-ranging animals for human amusement. The ivory trade reflects the darkest aspect of human-elephant relationships, with an estimated 100,000 elephants killed between 2010 and 2012 alone during the poaching crisis. International ivory trade bans implemented through CITES have helped, but enforcement challenges and continuing demands sustain illegal markets. Chinese domestic ivory trade closure in 2017 represented a major conservation victory, though new markets in Southeast Asia pose emerging threats. The communication complexity of elephants includes vocal learning, the ability to produce new sounds through imitation rather than purely instinctual vocalizations. Young elephants learn call structures from family members, with distinct dialects identifiable between populations. Captive elephants have been documented imitating sounds from their environment, including human speech patterns and mechanical noises. One famous case involved an elephant producing sounds closely resembling Korean words by inserting trunk into mouth to modulate vocalization, demonstrating not just imitation but problem-solving to achieve acoustic targets. Vocal learning occurs in few mammal lineages: humans, cetaceans, bats, and elephants, representing convergent evolution of this capacity. The neural substrates enabling vocal learning likely involve enhanced connections between auditory processing regions and motor control areas governing vocalization. In elephants, the exceptionally large temporal lobes and complex connectivity patterns between cortical regions may facilitate the computational demands of vocal learning. The evolutionary advantages of vocal learning in elephants probably relate to maintaining social bonds across extended ranges where distinctive contact calls enable recognition of specific individuals or family groups. Young elephants require years to master their vocal repertoire, consistent with complex learning processes. The fact that elephants retain vocal learning capacity throughout life, unlike songbirds showing critical period restrictions, suggests ongoing selection for vocal plasticity. This capacity potentially allows populations to adjust communication systems to environmental changes or social circumstances, providing behavioral flexibility complementing genetic adaptation. Elephant foraging behavior demonstrates sophisticated decision-making based on nutritional needs, plant availability, and social factors. Elephants select feeding sites based on plant species composition, phenological state, and nutritional content, remembering locations of seasonal resources and timing migrations to arrive when favored plants reach optimal nutritional stages. They possess remarkable botanical knowledge, distinguishing hundreds of plant species and selectively consuming specific parts, leaves, bark, roots, fruit, based on nutritional requirements and toxin levels. Pregnant and lactating females show altered foraging preferences, increasing consumption of calcium and protein-rich plants meeting elevated nutritional demands. Elephants employ varied foraging techniques including delicate picking of individual leaves, systematic branch stripping, bark peeling, and excavation of underground storage organs. Tool use in feeding contexts includes breaking branches to optimal lengths for backscratching while simultaneously making food accessible. Social transmission of foraging knowledge occurs, with calves learning which plants to eat through observation and sampling from mothers. Some populations show unique foraging traditions absent elsewhere, constituting cultural variation. For example, certain groups systematically raid crops at night, coordinating movements and posting sentries, behaviors requiring teaching and learning. The complexity of foraging decisions, integrating nutritional state, resource availability, predation risk, and social factors, requires sophisticated cognition. Mathematical models of optimal foraging predict elephant feeding choices with reasonable accuracy, suggesting elephants approximate optimal solutions to foraging problems, though social and other factors introduce deviations from pure optimization. The phenomenon of elephant raids on agricultural fields represents a complex issue in human-elephant coexistence, with elephants exhibiting remarkable intelligence in exploiting human resources. Elephants quickly learn crop locations, timing raids to coincide with crop maturation when nutritional value peaks. They demonstrate tactical sophistication, conducting primarily nocturnal raids to minimize human contact, posting sentries to watch for farmers, and using coordinated group movements. Some populations show generational transmission of raiding behaviors, with experienced females leading groups to fields they've been exploiting for decades. Elephants distinguish between armed and unarmed humans, showing greater caution toward people carrying weapons. In some areas, they've learned to associate vehicles with dangerous humans, fleeing from motor sounds. However, elephants also discriminate, responding more strongly to certain ethnic groups known for hunting elephants than others who traditionally coexist peacefully. This suggests cultural knowledge about specific human populations. From elephants' perspectives, agricultural fields represent abundant, nutritious food sources in landscapes where natural vegetation faces degradation. The challenge for conservation involves developing deterrents that protect human livelihoods without lethal control. Methods including chili fences, beehive fences, and early warning systems show varying effectiveness. Understanding elephant cognition proves crucial. Intelligent animals capable of learning require deterrents that remain unpredictable and consistently enforced, as elephants rapidly habituate to ineffective or inconsistently applied measures. The raiding problem will intensify as human populations grow and elephant ranges contract unless innovative coexistence strategies emerge. Elephant locomotion biomechanics reveal adaptations for supporting and moving enormous masses efficiently. The columnar limb structure, with bones stacked nearly vertically, minimizes bending moments and muscular effort required to remain standing. This configuration allows elephants to rest while standing, with skeletal support minimizing energetic costs. The unique gait pattern, sometimes called an amble, involves a lateral sequence footfall pattern differing from typical mammalian gaits. At higher speeds, elephants increase stride frequency rather than adopting true running gaits with aerial phases, as their body mass makes landing from aerial phases dangerously stressful to skeletal structures. Biomechanical analysis suggests maximum sustainable elephant speeds around 25 km per hour, substantially slower than many large mammals. However, they maintain moderate speeds efficiently, traveling considerable distances during seasonal migrations. The pendulum-like leg swing during walking recovers substantial mechanical energy, improving locomotor efficiency. Footfall patterns create characteristic elephant trails, with trackways revealing information about individual size, speed, and health. Fossil trackways provide insights into extinct species locomotion, with some Pleistocene sites containing mammoth tracks preserved in ancient lake beds. The evolution of large body size in elephants required coordinated changes across multiple systems: skeletal reinforcement, postural modifications, cardiovascular enhancement, illustrating how major evolutionary transitions involve integrated adjustments across interconnected traits rather than simple linear scaling of ancestral forms. Paleontological evidence shows these changes occurred gradually over millions of years across multiple elephant lineages. The conservation challenges facing elephants in the Anthropocene epoch require unprecedented international cooperation, innovative financing mechanisms, and community-based approaches recognizing local people as essential partners. Protected area expansion alone proves insufficient given the spatial requirements of elephants and growing human populations needing land. Successful coexistence requires interventions reducing human-elephant conflict, compensating people for losses, and creating economic incentives for tolerance. Community-based natural resource management programs in southern Africa empower local communities to benefit from wildlife through tourism and sustainable use, generating support for conservation. However, benefits must be distributed equitably and meaningfully improve livelihoods to overcome hostility toward destructive elephants. Transboundary conservation initiatives establishing wildlife corridors across national borders enable elephant movements between protected areas, maintaining metapopulation connectivity essential for genetic health. Anti-poaching efforts require addressing both supply through law enforcement and demand through consumer awareness campaigns in ivory-consuming nations. Technology increasingly aids conservation. GPS collars track movements, enabling early warning systems alerting communities to approaching elephants. DNA forensics traces confiscated ivory to source populations, identifying poaching hotspots requiring intervention. However, technology cannot substitute for political will, adequate funding, and recognition that elephant conservation ultimately depends on human choices. The economic value of living elephants through tourism often exceeds ivory value, creating financial arguments for conservation, though ethical arguments for protecting sentient, intelligent beings deserve primacy regardless of economic considerations. The relationship between elephants and fire in African savannas creates complex feedbacks affecting vegetation structure and ecosystem dynamics. Elephants reduce woody plant biomass through feeding and physical damage, increasing grass cover and fuel loads that intensify fires. More intense fires kill tree seedlings and saplings, reinforcing elephant impacts on vegetation structure. Conversely, when elephant populations decline, tree cover increases, grass production decreases, and fire frequency and intensity drop, allowing woodland expansion. These interacting processes create alternative stable states, with landscapes switching between open grassland and closed woodland depending on elephant density and fire regime. Paleoecological evidence suggests these dynamics have operated for millions of years, though exact species compositions changed as climate fluctuated. The evolution of fire-adapted plants in African savannas occurred contemporaneously with elephant radiation, suggesting coevolution between fire, elephants, and vegetation. Some plant species exhibit traits suggesting adaptation to both fire and herbivory, including underground storage organs resistant to burning and browsing, thick bark protecting cambium from fire and elephant damage, and rapid resprouting capabilities. Theoretical models predict stable coexistence between elephants, fire, and trees within specific parameter ranges, but outside these ranges, systems flip to alternative states. Current concern about elephant impact on vegetation partly reflects management policies suppressing fire in protected areas, removing one ecosystem process while concentrating elephants at high densities, creating artificially intense impacts. Recognition of fire's ecological role leads some managers to implement controlled burns, restoring historical fire regimes while accepting elephant impacts as natural ecosystem processes. The evolution of elephant intelligence likely involved positive feedback loops where social complexity selected for enhanced cognition, which enabled more elaborate social systems, further increasing cognitive demands. This runaway process, termed the social intelligence hypothesis, proposes that challenges of navigating complex social environments drove brain expansion and cognitive sophistication. Supporting evidence includes correlations across mammals between brain size, social group size, and social complexity. Elephants exhibit all conditions thought to promote social intelligence evolution: long lifespans extending learning opportunities, extended juvenile periods allowing prolonged neural development, complex fission-fusion societies requiring tracking of numerous relationships, and ecological challenges requiring cooperation and knowledge transmission. The enormous absolute brain size in elephants, approaching 5 kilograms in adults, provides computational capacity for complex cognition, though brain-to-body mass ratio remains modest compared to primates. Recent debates question whether absolute brain size or specific neural structures matter more for cognition, with elephants providing important data given their huge brains with distinct organizational patterns from primates. Their success across diverse environments and complex social behavior despite different neurological organizations suggests multiple evolutionary solutions to intelligence exist, with convergence occurring at functional levels rather than specific neural architectures. Understanding elephant cognition thus illuminates general principles of intelligence evolution, demonstrating that primate-centric models capture only one possible pathway among multiple routes to sophisticated cognition. This perspective proves crucial for evaluating intelligence in other species and even potential non-biological intelligence systems. The concept of elephant conservation encompasses far more than preventing extinction. It requires preserving ecological processes and evolutionary potential. Elephants exist today as highly modified versions of their evolutionary selves, occupying restricted ranges at reduced densities, with altered behaviors reflecting human-dominated landscapes. True conservation would restore elephants to their ecological roles as landscape architects, seed dispersers, and nutrient cyclers operating at historical scales. This vision faces pragmatic constraints given human needs for land and resources, necessitating compromise. Some conservation biologists argue for rewilding initiatives that reintroduce elephants to regions they historically occupied, restoring ecological functions. Others question whether Anthropocene ecosystems can support large elephant populations or whether restored elephants would interact with novel ecosystems as they did historically. The philosophical dimensions of conservation raise profound questions. Do we conserve elephants because of their instrumental value to ecosystems and humans, or because as sentient beings they possess intrinsic value regardless of utility? Different ethical frameworks lead to different conservation priorities and approaches. The current trajectory, with elephants persisting primarily in protected areas as managed populations, represents pragmatic compromise between human needs and species preservation but falls short of restoring truly wild elephants living relatively unconstrained by human influence. Whether future generations will witness elephants as wildlife or merely as semi-wild populations existing at human discretion remains uncertain, depending on choices humanity makes regarding how we share Earth with other species and whether we recognize obligations extending beyond our own species' interests. Elephant pregnancy involves unique placentation patterns where the maternal and fetal tissues interdigitate in a zonary configuration, creating extensive surface area for nutrient and gas exchange across the placental barrier. The prolonged 22-month gestation enables exceptional fetal brain development, with newborns possessing brains weighing approximately 35% of adult brain mass, a proportion exceeding most mammals. This extended in utero development means calves emerge remarkably precocial, capable of walking within hours and quickly learning to coordinate the complex trunk movements essential for feeding and drinking. The energetic investment mothers make during pregnancy proves substantial, with fetal growth rates accelerating dramatically during the final trimester when organ systems mature rapidly. Hormonal changes during pregnancy alter female behavior and physiology, with elevated progesterone and prolactin levels supporting fetal development and preparing mammary glands for lactation. Birth typically occurs at night, possibly an ancestral adaptation reducing predation risk when mothers experience temporary vulnerability. The birth process itself lasts several hours, with other family members often attending, touching the newborn with trunks in greeting ceremonies. Placental expulsion follows birth, and mothers typically consume portions of the placenta, reclaiming nutrients and possibly ingesting hormones facilitating maternal behavior. The mother-calf bond forms immediately, reinforced through frequent touching, vocalization, and nursing that commences within hours of birth. The gut microbiome of elephants harbors diverse bacterial communities essential for cellulose digestion and nutrient synthesis. Metagenomic analysis reveals thousands of bacterial species, many undescribed and possibly endemic to elephant digestive systems. These symbiotic bacteria produce enzymes elephants cannot synthesize themselves, breaking down complex plant polysaccharides into short-chain fatty acids the elephant absorbs for energy. The composition of gut communities varies between individuals, populations, and geographic regions, potentially reflecting dietary differences and environmental bacterial exposures. Calves acquire initial gut colonization from mothers through coprophagy, consuming maternal dung to seed their digestive systems with appropriate bacterial consortia. This vertical transmission of microbiomes potentially constitutes an overlooked component of cultural inheritance, as beneficial bacterial strains pass between generations. Changes in diet rapidly alter microbiome composition, demonstrating remarkable community flexibility adapting to available forage. Antibiotic exposure devastates gut communities, sometimes causing fatal digestive dysfunction in captive elephants treated for bacterial infections. The coevolutionary relationship between elephants and their gut microbiomes extends back millions of years, with bacterial lineages potentially tracking elephant evolution and diversification. Understanding these symbiotic relationships proves crucial for captive elephant management, where diet alterations or medical treatments must consider microbiome impacts on digestive health and overall well-being. Elephants demonstrate empathy extending beyond their own species, responding to distress in other animals including humans. Multiple observations document elephants investigating and attempting to assist injured or trapped animals, suggesting genuine concern rather than mere curiosity. In captivity, elephants develop bonds with caretakers, showing distress when favored humans experience injury or illness. The neural basis for this cross-species empathy likely involves mirror neurons and spindle cells, enabling emotional contagion and perspective taking. Evolutionary explanations for such broad empathy remain speculative, though some researchers propose that species exhibiting strong within-species empathy might generalize these responses to other animals sharing similar distress signals. Another possibility suggests empathy evolved in context-dependent ways, responding to specific cues like infant distress vocalizations that share acoustic features across mammalian species. Whatever the mechanism, elephant empathy appears genuine based on behavioral evidence including physiological stress responses when observing others in distress, attempts to provide comfort through touching and vocalization, and sustained helping behavior beyond brief investigation. These capacities raise profound ethical questions about human treatment of elephants, as beings capable of empathy likely experience suffering more intensely than animals lacking such emotional complexity. The philosophical implications extend to questions about moral status and whether empathetic species deserve special consideration beyond conservation biology's typical focus on population viability. The economic value of elephants in ecotourism generates billions of dollars annually across range states, providing powerful financial incentives for conservation. Wildlife tourism creates employment for guides, lodge staff, and support industries, distributing benefits beyond direct park revenues. Studies estimate individual elephants in Kenya generate approximately $1 million in tourism revenue over their lifetimes, vastly exceeding ivory values. This economic argument proves persuasive to governments weighing conservation costs against competing land uses. However, tourism also creates conservation challenges including habitat disturbance, behavioral modification, and vehicle congestion around elephant groups. Habituation to humans reduces elephants' natural wariness, potentially increasing human-wildlife conflict when habituated animals approach settlements. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated tourism dependency risks when international travel collapsed, eliminating revenues supporting conservation programs while poaching pressures persisted. Sustainable tourism requires balancing visitor access against ecological impacts through regulations limiting vehicle numbers, maintaining minimum distances, and restricting viewing times. Community-based tourism initiatives direct revenues to local people living with elephants, creating stakeholders benefiting from conservation. Phototourism offers non-consumptive wildlife use generating revenues without killing animals, contrasting with trophy hunting which generates substantial revenues but remains ethically contentious. The future of elephant conservation in many areas depends on maintaining tourism viability while developing diversified funding sources, reducing dependence on a single revenue stream vulnerable to global economic fluctuations and public health crises. The teeth of elephants reveal life history information through incremental growth patterns analogous to tree rings. Dentine deposits daily, creating microscopic lines visible in sectioned tusks and molars. Annual growth variations produce broader patterns reflecting seasonal resource availability and physiological states. Researchers extract tusks from dead elephants and analyze growth increments, reconstructing individual life histories including birth timing, weaning age, nutritional stress periods, and reproductive events. Stable isotope analysis of sequential tusk sections reveals dietary changes and movements between habitats with different isotopic signatures. This technique enables reconstruction of movement patterns across decades, identifying critical habitats and seasonal ranges. Forensic applications include aging confiscated ivory and determining geographic origins through isotopic matching to regional databases. Stress markers in tusks correlate with known disturbance events, providing physiological records of elephant responses to environmental challenges. The sexual maturity timing, interbirth intervals, and nutritional status inferred from tusk analysis inform population models predicting demographic trends. Recent advances in analytical techniques extract increasingly detailed information from tusks, including hormone metabolites recording reproductive state and stress levels across lifespans. This post-mortem analysis transforms dead elephants into archives containing decades of biological data, helping researchers understand population dynamics and environmental changes affecting elephants without invasive studies on living animals. The ethical consideration of whether researchers should collect tusks from naturally deceased elephants for scientific study versus leaving remains undisturbed generates ongoing debates within conservation communities. Elephants employ sophisticated anti-predator strategies despite adults facing minimal predation risk once reaching full size. The primary predation threat targets calves, with lions being the main predators capable of killing young elephants. Family groups encircle calves when predators approach, presenting a united defensive front with adults facing outward. Matriarchs assess predation risk based on predator species, numbers, and behavior, responding appropriately with alarm calls, defensive formations, or charges. Elephants distinguish between predator species, showing heightened responses to lions versus other large carnivores like hyenas. They also differentiate dangerous predators from scavengers, largely ignoring vultures and jackals unless circumstances suggest unusual threats. Learning shapes anti-predator responses. Elephants in areas where humans hunt them show greater wariness of people than elephants in protected areas experiencing only benign human contact. This learned wariness proves adaptive but also tragic, as elephants develop lasting fear of humans where poaching occurs. Experimental playback studies demonstrate elephants recognize human ethnic groups by voice and smell, responding more defensively to groups associated with poaching. They even distinguish gender and age, showing stronger responses to adult male voices than women or children. These sophisticated threat assessments require integrating multiple information sources including visual, acoustic, and olfactory cues with experiential learning and possibly cultural knowledge transmitted from experienced individuals. The cognitive demands of appropriate threat assessment likely contributed to intelligence evolution in elephants as in other species where predation risk shapes behavioral ecology. The role of elephants in maintaining savanna ecosystems extends to preventing complete woodland conversion. Without elephants, African savannas gradually transition toward closed canopy woodlands as trees recruit successfully and fire regimes alone prove insufficient to maintain open grasslands. Experimental exclosures excluding elephants demonstrate rapid woody plant increases compared to areas where elephants browse. This transformation affects entire ecological communities. Grassland birds, large grazers like wildebeest, and grass-dependent insects decline as canopy closure reduces grass productivity. The ecosystem engineering by elephants creates habitat heterogeneity supporting biodiversity, with some species requiring open grasslands while others need woodland. The intermediate disturbance hypothesis suggests moderate elephant impact maximizes diversity by preventing competitive exclusion while not causing catastrophic destruction. Historical evidence suggests elephant populations fluctuated naturally through climatic cycles and disease, creating temporal variation in browsing pressure, allowing vegetation recovery periods. Current concerns about elephant impact often reflect artificially high densities in confined, protected areas. Modeling studies explore optimal elephant densities balancing multiple objectives including biodiversity conservation, ecosystem process maintenance, and aesthetic preferences. These models reveal no single optimal density exists. Instead, optimal densities vary depending on conservation priorities and stakeholder values. The philosophical question of whether humans should manage elephant populations or allow natural processes including vegetation change remains contentious. Some conservationists advocate minimal intervention, accepting ecosystem transformations as natural processes, while others argue human-created conditions justify active management maintaining specific ecosystem states. Elephant calves exhibit extended developmental periods requiring years to master essential survival skills. Trunk coordination proves particularly challenging, with young calves struggling to control the muscular appendage that swings uncontrollably or drags on the ground. They learn through observation and practice, gradually refining the intricate movements required for drinking, feeding, and dust bathing. Weaning occurs between 2 and 5 years, though the exact timing varies individually and culturally. Social learning dominates skill acquisition, with calves watching and imitating experienced elephants to learn which plants are edible, how to find water, and appropriate social behaviors. Play behavior occupies substantial time, serving functions including physical development, social bonding, and skill practice in low-stakes contexts. Young elephants engage in sparring matches, teaching fighting techniques useful in later life, chase games developing running skills, and object manipulation honing trunk coordination. The extended juvenile period allows accumulation of knowledge impossible to encode genetically, explaining why elephant intelligence proves adaptive. However, this dependency on learned knowledge makes elephants vulnerable to social disruption. Orphaned calves lacking adult teachers struggle to acquire essential skills, often dying or developing behavioral abnormalities. The generational transfer of knowledge means that when experienced elders die, their accumulated wisdom disappears, impoverishing the group's collective knowledge base. Conservation efforts increasingly recognize the importance of maintaining intact social structures, not just numerical population targets, because social fabric preservation ensures cultural knowledge transmission across generations. The acoustic environment elephants inhabit shapes their communication evolution. Dense forests attenuate high-frequency sounds over short distances, favoring low-frequency vocalizations that propagate farther with less degradation. Open savannas present different acoustic challenges, with vegetation clumps and terrain features scattering and reflecting sound. Elephants adjust calling behavior to environmental conditions, increasing call amplitude in noisy environments and modifying call structures for optimal transmission. The dual-mode transmission through air and ground provides redundancy, with ground-borne signals often more reliable in environments where atmospheric conditions create acoustic shadows. Temperature inversions, humidity gradients, and wind affect sound propagation, with elephants potentially timing calls to favorable atmospheric conditions. Anthropogenic noise increasingly interferes with elephant communication. Roads, aircraft, and industrial activities introduce novel sounds that mask natural vocalizations. Studies in areas with high human activity show altered calling patterns, with elephants calling less frequently or adjusting timing to avoid noisy periods. This acoustic pollution potentially disrupts social coordination and mate finding, adding another stress to human-impacted populations. The evolutionary mismatch between communication systems evolved in relatively quiet natural environments and current noisy landscapes may disadvantage elephants adapted for sound-based coordination. Understanding acoustic ecology proves crucial for conservation planning, as protected areas should consider acoustic quality alongside other habitat features, potentially establishing quiet zones minimizing human-generated noise pollution that interferes with elephant communication and social cohesion. The phenomenon of musth serves as an honest signal of male quality, advertising competitive ability and genetic fitness to potential mates. Only males in excellent physical condition afford the immunosuppressive effects of elevated testosterone and the energetic costs of heightened activity during musth. Females select musth males preferentially, even when non-musth males court them, suggesting musth communicates desirable male characteristics. The timing and duration of musth varies with male age, condition, and social status. Prime-aged males in their 40s enter musth annually for several months, while younger males experience shorter, less intense musth periods. Social suppression occurs when higher-ranking musth males prevent lower-ranking males from entering or maintaining musth through intimidation. This competitive suppression means musth timing within populations staggers across males, reducing direct competition and potentially extending females' access to musth males throughout the year. The evolutionary origins of musth remain debated, with hypotheses proposing functions including sperm competition advantages through increased mating effort, competitive exclusion of rivals, or long-distance mate attraction through enhanced pheromone production. Comparative evidence shows musth-like phenomena in Asian elephants and mammoths, suggesting ancient origins preceding extant species divergence. The testosterone surge during musth carries costs including weight loss, increased injury risk from fighting, and reduced immune function, explaining why only high-quality males sustain musth. Understanding musth dynamics proves important for managing captive breeding programs where artificial environments disrupt natural musth patterns, sometimes leading to dangerous aggression requiring management interventions. Elephants possess specialized skin glands beyond the temporal gland that secrete substances with communicative functions. Anal glands produce secretions deposited with dung, potentially marking territorial boundaries or communicating individual identity and physiological state. Between-toe glands exude substances leaving scent trails that other elephants detect and investigate. Chemical communication complements acoustic and visual signaling, providing information persisting in the environment after the signaler departs. Elephants show intense interest in secretions and excretions from other elephants, investigating dung, urine, and temporal gland secretions extensively. This chemical investigation likely yields information about individual identity, relatedness, reproductive status, health, and recent diet. The vomeronasal organ, a chemosensory structure in the nasal cavity, detects non-volatile chemical signals requiring direct contact for perception. Males use the trunk to transfer female urine to the vomeronasal organ during estrus assessment, demonstrating the organ's role in reproductive behavior. Chemical communication's importance in elephant social behavior remains underappreciated compared to acoustic communication, partly because human sensory biases favor visual and auditory modalities we perceive readily. However, the olfactory world elephants inhabit likely contains rich information invisible to human observers but crucial for elephant social dynamics. Recent analytical chemistry advances enable identification of specific compounds in elephant secretions, revealing complex mixtures whose biological functions require further investigation through behavioral experiments testing elephant responses to isolated compounds versus natural mixtures. The conservation genetics of elephants reveals concerning patterns of genetic erosion in fragmented populations. Small isolated populations lose genetic diversity through drift, with rare alleles disappearing from the gene pool. Inbreeding increases homozygosity, potentially exposing deleterious recessive alleles causing reduced fitness. Studies document lower reproductive success and higher infant mortality in genetically depauperate populations compared to large, connected populations maintaining high diversity. The evolutionary potential to adapt to changing environments diminishes as genetic variation declines, creating vulnerability to novel diseases, climate shifts, or other environmental changes. Genetic rescue through managed gene flow between populations can reverse diversity losses, with translocations introducing new alleles and increasing heterozygosity. However, genetic management requires careful consideration to avoid outbreeding depression where locally adapted gene combinations break apart, reducing fitness. The balance between maintaining local adaptations and preventing inbreeding proves challenging, especially given limited knowledge of elephant adaptation genetics. Genomic technologies increasingly inform conservation decisions, with whole genome sequencing revealing genetic load, inbreeding coefficients, and adaptive variation patterns. These data enable identification of priority populations for conservation based on genetic uniqueness or diversity, and selection of translocation candidates minimizing genetic risks. The long generation times and slow reproductive rates of elephants mean genetic impacts of current management decisions will manifest across decades, necessitating long-term perspectives in conservation genetic planning beyond typical political and funding cycles. The myth of elephant memory finds substantial basis in neurological reality, with elephants possessing remarkable recall of locations, individuals, and events across decades. Documented cases include elephants recognizing individuals after 25-year separations and navigating directly to water sources visited only once 15 years previously. The hippocampus and associated structures supporting memory formation and retrieval show exceptional development in elephant brains, with neuron densities and synaptic organization suggesting enhanced memory consolidation. Elephants appear to possess both excellent spatial memory for navigating vast home ranges and social memory tracking dozens of individuals' identities, relationships, and past interactions. The adaptive value of such memory relates to unpredictable environments where resources fluctuate across years and decades. Remembering where water persisted during previous droughts enhances survival during current dry periods. Social memory enables complex political navigation within fission fusion societies where maintaining awareness of shifting alliances and dominance relationships across many individuals provides strategic advantages. Memory also supports cumulative culture, allowing traditions and knowledge to persist across generations as younger elephants learn from experienced elders. However, memory capacity carries potential costs. Elephants traumatized by poaching or culling apparently retain these memories, showing lasting behavioral changes and fear responses years later. Whether elephants experience intrusive memories or symptoms resembling post-traumatic stress disorder remains speculative but disturbing possibility given their cognitive sophistication. The reality that elephants remember traumatic experiences across lifespans amplifies ethical concerns regarding conservation interventions and human activities affecting elephant populations. Elephant longevity in wild populations rarely exceeds 65 years, though captive individuals occasionally survive into their 70s under optimal care. Maximum lifespan ultimately limits by dental wear, with the final set of molars determining survival. Once these teeth wear down, elephants cannot efficiently process food, leading to malnutrition and eventual death. This physiological constraint on lifespan represents an evolutionary trade-off. Additional molar sets would presumably extend lifespan, yet the genetic programs governing dental development apparently haven't evolved this trait. One explanation suggests the costs of extended lifespan exceeded benefits in ancestral environments where extrinsic mortality from predation, disease, or accidents limited survival regardless of dental status. Alternatively, the developmental constraints of fitting additional molar sets within jaw dimensions may prove insurmountable. Female elephants exhibit post-reproductive lifespan, continuing to live years after their last calf, paralleling humans and a few other species showing this unusual pattern. Evolutionary theories for post-reproductive lifespan emphasize the grandmother hypothesis, proposing that elderly females enhance fitness by assisting offspring and grand-offspring rather than continuing risky reproduction. In elephants, post-reproductive matriarchs provide leadership and accumulated knowledge benefiting entire family groups, demonstrating how selection can favor extended lifespan beyond reproductive cessation. This pattern suggests elephant longevity evolved not primarily for individual reproduction but for knowledge accumulation and transmission, highlighting the profound importance of social learning in elephant evolution and the irreplaceable value of elderly individuals to population persistence. The impact of climate change on elephant populations extends beyond habitat shifts to include direct physiological stresses from temperature extremes. Elephants already operate near thermal tolerance limits in many habitats, using behavioral and physiological mechanisms to manage heat loads. Rising temperatures increase cooling demands, requiring elephants to spend more time near water, reduce activity during hot periods, and increase evaporative cooling through water spraying and mud bathing. If water availability declines simultaneously with temperature increases, as projected for many regions, elephants face compounded challenges meeting both thermoregulatory and hydration needs. Vegetation changes following altered rainfall patterns may reduce forage quality and availability, forcing longer foraging periods or larger home ranges to meet nutritional requirements. Phenological mismatches could occur if plant growth seasons shift faster than elephant movement patterns adjust, potentially causing elephants to arrive at traditional feeding areas after peak nutritional value passes. Disease distributions may shift, exposing elephant populations to novel pathogens against which they lack immunity. While elephants have persisted through substantial climatic changes across evolutionary timescales, current warming rates exceed historical changes, and fragmented habitats may prevent tracking suitable conditions as they shift geographically. Modeling studies project range contractions for both African and Asian elephants under various climate scenarios, with some protected areas potentially becoming unsuitable. The interaction between climate change and other threats like habitat loss and poaching creates synergistic effects potentially exceeding elephants' adaptive capacity, necessitating proactive conservation strategies anticipating future conditions rather than managing for current circumstances alone. The biomechanics of elephant tusks reveals sophisticated material properties optimizing these structures for diverse mechanical demands. Ivory's composition of collagen fibers embedded in mineral matrix provides toughness and strength, resisting fracture during impacts from fighting, digging, or vegetation manipulation. The internal structure shows concentric growth layers reflecting developmental patterns, with density and composition varying across the tusk providing regional material property variation. Tusk curvature results from differential growth rates between inner and outer surfaces, creating natural curves that vary across species and individuals. Biomechanical analysis demonstrates that tusk shape distributes applied forces efficiently, minimizing stress concentrations that could initiate cracks. The evolution of tusks from ancestral elephant relatives shows increasing size and modifications in shape reflecting changing selective pressures as elephant body sizes grew and ecological roles shifted. Sexual selection likely contributed substantially to tusk evolution, with male-male competition favoring larger tusks as weapons and sexual ornaments. However, tusk size also incurs costs. Large tusks require considerable resources to grow and maintain, may reduce maneuverability in dense vegetation, and create physiological burdens from carrying substantial mass extending anteriorly from the skull. Recent selection against tusks through poaching creates evolutionary changes detectable within decades, demonstrating rapid evolution under extreme selective pressure. The frequency of tuskless individuals in heavily poached populations substantially exceeds historical baselines, representing documented anthropogenic evolution. Understanding tusk biomechanics and evolution informs conservation by revealing how ivory's material properties drove its value to humans while simultaneously making tusks essential for elephant survival and reproduction. Elephant societies exhibit fascinating parallels with human social systems despite independent evolution, suggesting general principles governing complex social organization. Both species show strong kinship bonds, cooperative childcare, information transmission across generations, and cultural diversity between populations. The convergence suggests that when intelligent, long-lived organisms form stable social groups in variable environments, similar social structures emerge through convergent evolution. However, important differences exist. Elephant societies lack the patriarchal dominance structures common in humans, instead organizing around matrilineal kinship with females remaining in natal groups throughout life while males disperse. This fundamental organizational difference affects everything from resource competition to mating systems to cultural transmission pathways. Male elephants form looser associations than females, creating secondary social tier based on shifting alliances rather than stable kinship bonds. The fission-fusion dynamics, where groups temporarily separate and reunite, provide flexibility allowing adjustment to resource availability while maintaining social ties. This flexibility requires sophisticated cognitive abilities tracking multiple individuals' locations and activities across time and space. Comparative studies between elephant and human societies inform understanding of social evolution generally, revealing how ecological conditions, cognitive capacities, and life history traits interact to generate diverse social systems. The social complexity of elephants challenges anthropocentric biases, suggesting only humans achieve truly complex sociality, demonstrating instead that multiple evolutionary pathways can produce sophisticated social organization when ecological and cognitive prerequisites align. The cultural diversity of elephant populations manifests in distinctive traditions varying between groups that live in similar environments, indicating cultural rather than genetic or environmental origins. Specific migration routes, foraging techniques, communication dialects, and social conventions differ across populations despite genetic similarity and habitat comparability. These cultural traits transmit socially through observation and teaching rather than genetic inheritance, qualifying as genuine culture under anthropological definitions. The documentation of elephant culture challenges historical assumptions that culture represents uniquely human characteristic, demonstrating instead that culture evolves when species possess cognitive abilities for social learning, sufficient lifespan for knowledge accumulation, and stable social structures enabling intergenerational transmission. The loss of cultural knowledge when populations suffer high mortality or social disruption represents a conservation concern beyond simple numerical abundance. A population might contain sufficient individuals for genetic viability yet lack culturally transmitted knowledge essential for optimal resource use, predator avoidance, or social cohesion. This cultural erosion may prove difficult to detect through standard population monitoring yet substantially reduce population viability and resilience. Conservation strategies increasingly recognize the need to protect not just elephants but also their cultural knowledge, requiring maintenance of stable social structures and protecting repositories of traditional knowledge in the form of elderly matriarchs. The parallel with human cultural conservation proves striking. Just as human cultures face homogenization and extinction, elephant cultures face similar threats from social disruption and habitat loss, representing losses of irreplaceable accumulated knowledge representing thousands of years of elephant learning and adaptation. The paleontological record documents the radiation and subsequent decline of proboscideans across evolutionary time, with over 160 species described from fossils. This diversity peaked during the Miocene epoch when elephants occupied every continent except Australia and Antarctica, adapting to environments from tropical forests to Arctic tundra. The extinct gomphotheres developed 4 tusks and diverse jaw configurations reflecting specialized feeding ecologies. Stegodons evolved elaborate tusks and unique molar structures, adapting them to Asian forests. Deinotheres possessed downward-curving lower tusks of uncertain function, possibly used for bark stripping or defensive displays. The American mastodon browsed forests across North America until the Pleistocene extinctions approximately 13,000 years ago, with evidence suggesting human hunting contributed to their demise. The Columbian mammoth reached enormous sizes exceeding modern elephants, dominating North American grasslands before extinction. The pygmy mammoths of California's Channel Islands demonstrated island dwarfism, evolving small body sizes on resource-limited islands. This pattern of evolving smaller body sizes in insular populations appears repeatedly in elephant evolution, with dwarf elephants inhabiting Mediterranean islands during Pleistocene. The extinction of most elephant lineages during the late Pleistocene and Holocene appears linked to combined pressures of climate change and human expansion, with debates continuing about the relative importance of each factor. The surviving species represent a tiny fraction of historical elephant diversity, occupying restricted ranges compared to their ancestors' global distributions. Understanding this evolutionary history provides perspective on current conservation challenges, suggesting elephants have survived previous environmental changes but today face uniquely rapid and pervasive anthropogenic pressures potentially exceeding their adaptive capacities. The relationship between elephants and their gut parasites encompasses diverse nematodes, cestodes, and protozoa, some specialized exclusively on elephant hosts. These parasites complete complex life cycles, sometimes involving intermediate hosts, with transmission occurring through contaminated vegetation, water, or soil. High parasite loads can reduce host fitness through nutrient depletion, tissue damage, and immune system activation costs. However, moderate parasitism may prove benign or even beneficial through immune system stimulation, conferring resistance to other pathogens. The hygiene hypothesis proposes that some parasite exposure proves necessary for proper immune development, with completely parasite-free animals showing increased allergies and autoimmune disorders. Studies of elephant parasites reveal fascinating evolutionary relationships, with some parasite lineages tracking elephant diversification, providing independent evidence of elephant evolutionary history. Parasite DNA sequences sometimes clarify ambiguous host phylogenetic relationships, as parasites inherit vertically from host ancestors and accumulate mutations at different rates than hosts. Conservation implications emerge from understanding elephant-parasite relationships. Translocated elephants may encounter novel parasites to which they lack immunity, or may introduce parasites to naive populations with devastating effects. Veterinary interventions reducing parasite loads in captive elephants might prove counterproductive if moderate parasitism actually enhances health. The complexity of host-parasite coevolution suggests simplistic views of parasites as purely harmful overlook more nuanced relationships where hosts and parasites reach evolutionary compromises. This perspective applies broadly in conservation biology, recognizing that apparently healthy wild populations harbor diverse parasite communities integral to ecosystem function rather than aberrations requiring elimination.